My name is Germán, and I'm a senior product manager right now at Monzo. And before we get started, I'm going to ask for some audience participation. Very briefly, I'm sorry, I'm apologizing ahead of time. But please raise your hand if your role has ever been made redundant, you've ever been laid off, reduction in force. Anybody been affected? Okay, that's like maybe half the room. Raise your hand if you know someone who's been laid off or their role has been made redundant or reduction before. That's like, okay, that's basically almost the whole world. There's like 2 people who don't, you need to get out more. Because it's brutal out there, everybody. You're not alone, and your peeps are not alone, because this is a graph from a company called TrueUp.io. This is publicly available data around the amount of tech employees that have been laid off in the last few years. You can see that after the pandemic, it just really skyrockets after that. And it really hasn't let up since, it hasn't really changed. And it's not just like small companies that are like struggling with maybe VC funding after like the zero interest period ended. It's all sizes of companies. You've got Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Salesforce, Spotify. Like no one's really immune. Like it's really all over the industry. And it's really kind of like the new normal now, which is concerning. But I know about this personally because it happened to me. It happened to me twice. Suspense. And in the course of about like 2 years. So that was a bummer, I'm not gonna lie. And something nobody really talks about, or nobody ever told me, was that when you are suddenly unemployed very quickly, there's real emotional chaos around that. And there's a lot of like anxiety, and you're feeling exhausted a lot of the time. And for me personally, like there was a lot of self-doubt. Like in the companies that I was made redundant from, one of them was because they were running out of money. That happens. And the other one was because the company got acquired and the operations got moved overseas. So didn't really have anything to do with my performance, with nothing to do with my team's performance, but still the self-doubt was there anyway. Like that insecurity was still there, and it was really, really powerful. I was surprised by how powerful it was. And again, you're kind of constantly feeling you're running on empty. Like your emotional bandwidth just feels constantly low, and you're constantly exhausted. That's how I felt, at least. And the irony is that when you're suddenly unemployed, you're looking for a job, fairly quickly, and you're expected to be, confident, polished, and you're expected to be able to tell compelling stories about yourself and about your work. And you're constantly expected to present your best self in the time of emotional upheaval, really. And what made things worse for me was when the first time I was laid off, I really struggled to tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody for ages. Like I had a lot of like shame around it, and I wanted to keep it a secret from like my network. And this is because I felt bad about it. I felt like it reflected badly on me. And because secretly, that's how I felt about other people who had been laid off. Like I felt, oh, maybe they weren't that good. That's why they were laid off. Or maybe they weren't doing anything very important because that's what. And after it happened to me, I'm like, that's not true. It's just not. Again, like it's just, there's so many factors outside of your day-to-day work that affect tech layoffs. Like it's a fact. And so the spiral was like, I didn't tell anyone, I hid it, I was terrified, and that in turn isolated me from my network and opportunities, which in turn made my job search longer. So again, not a helpful situation. But I suddenly took a really, really big step, which was on LinkedIn, I turned on the open to work banner. It took me 2 months to do this. It took me ages to do this. And not just the recruiter one, the only recruiters see, like the public one. Like that was a big deal for me. And I made a little post saying, hey, everyone looking for a role. Didn't say I had been laid off. That was too much emotional vulnerability. But I just said, I'm looking for a new role, and like, this is the kind of role I'm looking for. Please, if you know something, let me know. That took so much energy. It was so hard. And that was the first step. And then the next step, for the first time in my adult life, this was 2 years ago, I asked 2 friends to please review my CV and give me feedback. That was, again, terrifying. I hadn't realized, like, I'm an adult, and this was really hard. And they were lovely about it. They responded really quickly, and they gave me really valuable advice. One of my friends sent me her CV, a product manager as well. She's like, hey, look, here's an example of what I'm talking about. And it was really helpful to see another person's CV that had been successful in their job search. Again, just so incredibly valuable. So both of those things they really changed my perspective on this, because I learned that when you ask someone for help, you are honoring their experience and their wisdom. Like, you are giving them an opportunity, you're creating the opportunity for them to give to others, to help others. And most people love that. Like they find it really fulfilling and satisfying. That's a human nature thing, most people. So these two steps helped me take kind of the most significant step though, which was I joined the program called Never Search Alone. And this is, a couple people had mentioned this to me over the years and I just forgot about it. But eventually, I was in need of this. And it's basically based on a book by Phil Terry. And it's about, it really kind of recommends the idea of like joining a peer council. They call them job search councils. So it's people that are kind of in your same situation. And it helps you with accountability in your job search, but mostly it's about support. Offering mutual support, and those really, looking for a job can be really exhausting. There can be really like difficult times, and like sometimes the people in your life, they really can't relate. Like some people, if you're unemployed and you're looking, most people can't relate to that situation. So the peer council becomes even more important because these people are in the same boat. They're in very similar situations often. So again, I highly recommend that. And basically the program, and it helps you with your job search as well. So it encourages you to create what they call a candidate market fit. So on the one hand, you're doing like self-reflection around what kind of work you like, what you find motivating, what kind of company you want to work with, what kind of role you want to have, that kind of stuff. And then you go out and do market research. They call it a listening tour. When you are talking to former colleagues, you're talking to people in your same role in other companies who are employed, you're talking to recruiters to get an idea of what's in demand in the marketplace. So you put those two things together and you come up with a candidate market fit. If you're a product manager, it's the same thing as, it's a product market fit, but in this case, you and your career are the product. And then the program also kind of helps you with, interview prep and debriefing after interviews. It helps you with networking and like also, even if you get an offer, it helps you help negotiate the offer and set yourself up for success in your new role. So I highly recommend this. I can't stop talking about it. It's great. So what were the results after I did the program? So for me, I don't know if people here follow James Gunaka. He's like a product in, kind of like a coach and like influencer on LinkedIn. He has really good content around for PM job seekers. He does a monthly jobs report and he publishes benchmarks for like application conversion rates. Because if you're PM, you're all about the conversion rates. Before I did the program, I was around like for every 5 applications, I would get 1 interview, which is again, if you follow James's number, that's really good, actually. That's actually a really solid foundation. After this last year when I was looking, it got up to 48% because I had much clearer positioning for myself, my candidate market fit. I had a strong CV, and also my network was helping with referrals. So that really changed my conversion rate, it really impacted it. My current job at Monzo, I had a friend, a former colleague was working at Monzo, and he reached out to me to say, hey, I saw that you were looking, my search was visible, I told people about it. I heard that you're looking, do you want a referral? I'm like, yes. So he referred me, definitely. And once I was in that process, then I really leaned on my job search council and on my network to really help me prepare for the job, and I started at Monzo in January. So again, it really changed the whole experience for me. I can't recommend it enough. So, what are the key takeaways here? If you're searching right now for a job, tell people, please make your search visible. Don't hide it like I did initially. Ask for help. Again, it's a win-win. You don't really realize that. You're honoring people's experience and wisdom when you ask them for help. It's so enriching in a way that you don't really expect. I recommend that you join Never Search Alone if you're looking. They have a modality for fast job seekers, so people who are kind of unemployed. They have a slow seeker group as well. I just met someone who's in a slow seeker group. So they have that if you're currently employed and you're not that as much of a rush. Here's a little QR code if you're into that for Never Search Alone. And if you're not searching, be the person who helps. Be that person if someone asks for help. I'm going to be here after the talk if people want to talk to me about the experience or tips or just anything. I'll be around, and I'm also on LinkedIn. And respond when someone reaches out, make an introduction, review a CV. Remember that you will need this network someday, very likely. So build it and foster it now. Yeah, don't do it alone. Thank you.